Hey guys, this is Blizz from DeviantArt, and today I'm going to show you how I color eyes. Okay, so I have a liner already here. So I'm going to go ahead and use the magic wand tool, which is W, I think, and select these. I'll be a little more nitpicky with these corners here. And hopefully, if it's too much, you can always go and go over these lines later with like ink pen or something like that. That might be easier. Okay, so I got that part. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm just going to call it E for eyes. This is what I usually do. And I'm going to use the bucket tool, select something around here, the skin color, and make it slightly darker and a little brownish. And I'm just going to dump the color in there. Okay. Next I'm going to color in the eye whites. Whoa. So I'm going to use this red color just because. And with the ink pen tool, I'm just going to go around and get the parts that are supposed to be white. I know this is starting to look a little creepy right now, but that's part of the fun. And it's a lot easier to see this way instead of just using white straight off the bat. Yeah, you can see how it's like a little unrealistically jutting out, if that makes any sense. Okay, and when you're done, you can just hit preserve opacity and the bucket tool. There we go. Choose white, and there you go. So what I like to do is create shadows under the eyelashes. So I'm going to clip it, choose a color around here, and make it slightly grayish. So I like to hit it around here. And this is just the ink pen tool again. So I'm just going to use a watercolor tool to kind of blur it out. Yeah, make sure you don't put too much down here because otherwise she's going to look like very sleep deprived. Yeah, that's happened before. So, next I'm going to get the pupils in. So back to the line art, select. This one's a little more straightforward. So I believe her eyes were something like this. I tend to choose a really light color at first. Okay, that looks decent, maybe. So create a new layer, clip it, and choose a slightly darker color. And I'll use the ink pen tool and kind of draw a circle. So this is like the midpoint, right? And the blob, the circle, will come around here. I like to put in color like this, and I'll use my watercolor tool to sort of blur it out. Yeah, kind of like that. So do that for the other eye as well. Doesn't need to be perfect. Okay. So now that I have a base, I can make another layer with a slightly darker color, just to go over it. Here's some more shadows. Make sure not to overdo it too much if you're going for a softer effect. Okay, and I like to add this little thing in the middle just because it adds a little bit of style to it. I guess this is the pupil, huh? Oops. gonna blur that a little bit too. And maybe add a little bit to the bottom. Not too much. Yeah, okay, so it still looks a little weird right now, but we're gonna fix that soon. So basically what I do is start adding highlights to the eye. And what I do is go to the eyeliner layer, make a layer above it, and make it luminosity. I'll select white, use the ink pen, and just start adding lights. What I like to do is have it bleed into the shadow of the eyelashes. And try not to overdo it too much because then it starts to look kind of tacky. But I'll add lights to the bottom of the eye. By the way, this style always changes, so if I end up doing it differently today than I do some other day, it's normal. I'll blur it a little here as well. So add a bit of light there. Okay. Maybe this looks slightly better. So I'm going to change this to make it such that the light is hitting from this direction. Honestly, not that hard to change. And I try to get these lines closer to the darker line here. Yeah, there you go. These are the very basics, I guess. You can add extra highlights if you want to make it slightly more detailed. And oh, of course, you have to make this part slightly more interesting to look at. So what I usually do is I use preserve opacity, and I grab a color, the skin color near it, and I'll just go over it with an airbrush. Grab the lighter skin color, use that as well, use this color, the dark one, the dark eye color, brush it a little. Whoa, okay, my computer's a little slow today. Okay, and very last step, I will go over the liner with a slightly lighter color. For example, this, make it a little darker, like this. And I'll use a little bit of this. But of course, if you make it too light, you're not going to be able to see the eye. It's going to look a little too faded in, so just make sure that doesn't happen. And yeah, mostly done here. Alright, well, thank you so much for staying with me for like 9 minutes. Wow, almost 10 minutes now. And hope to see you again. Thanks!